What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and you check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on a recent article, right, about Mike Brown. He called out Karl Anthony Towns, for some of his lazy play, right? And so Karl Anthony Towns is he's known for like sometimes he don't play as hard as he should play. And I can see how like if you are a head coach and you had the opportunity for your team to elevate and go better, get deeper into the playoffs, I can see how this can be frustrating, right? Especially when you know somebody like Karl Anthony Towns, like with the talent that he had, but he can't really. It's hard to get this guy to play at an all-star level on a consistent basis. Like I said, sometimes he don't really, he act like he's not motivated or he's disinterested. And he had a relationship. Karl Anthony Towns had a relationship with Thibodeau, right? Where Thibodeau knew how to either he knew how to motivate Karl Anthony Towns and get him to play harder, or he made it so like when Karl Anthony Towns had like when Karl Anthony Towns was playing lazy or lackadaisical, that he would just go with the flow and just deal with it, until Karl Anthony Towns skipped out or until he came out of that little funk that he's in. So he just dealt with it. But Karl Anthony Towns has always had a reputation of sometimes like not really playing hard, or sometimes, and it could be frustrating for coaches and teammates when you know that a guy has more capabilities than what he's showing. And Mike Brown don't have the history with Karl Anthony Towns that the guy what's Thibodeau's first name? I forgot Coach Thibodeau's first name. But he had a history. He coached at Minnesota with Karl Anthony Towns. And at one point they had what's a guy named Jimmy Butler. He had Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler also called out. He said this guy don't play hard all the time, and he's not dedicated to the game. Right, and so I don't know what Mike Brown can do though. It's kind of hard. Cause like everybody don't they don't play consistently hard like that, and then so we have players like that, and they know that you don't have any leverage. You can't do anything to them. You can't bench them. Definitely, you can't cut them or trade them or nothing like that. So what can you just kind of trying to I don't know, just get them to play hard, I guess. But let me read this article, and it says Mike Brown calls out Karl Anthony Towns for a lazy play in Knicks loss, right? And so let me see. Mike Brown called out Karl Anthony Towns for lazy play with less than 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter. The Knicks 112-101 lost to the Kings Wednesday night, right? Towns drove and fell after he was stripped in the paint by what's this guy's name? I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. But anyway, the Knicks center got up and quickly jogged back on defense and stopped, allowing Arcavoa to grab an uncontested offensive rebound around midcourt, right? So, like I said, I'm not really surprised that Karl Anthony Towns, this is just par for the course, right? And just imagine like how his teammates feel. Like if you Brunson and you play as hard as somebody like Brunson, and then you got a guy who gets stripped and then goes down the other end and allows easy scoring opportunity, put back rebound. Just imagine how frustrating it can be with somebody on your team like that. Everybody is grinding, like Hart plays hard, Brunson play hard. I forgot, everybody. I mean, these guys they just go hard. They have a hard-nosed defensive basketball team, And then, but you got a guy like this who don't do that, right? And so let me continue reading. It says the sequence ended with Sacramento's Russell Westbrook nailing a wide open corner three-pointer to give the Kings a 17-point lead. Let me see. He drove, something happened where he fell down. He fell down, Brown said. When you fall down, you get up and you got to sprint down the floor. And even when you're the last guy down the floor, you get down the floor that just in case there's a long rebound, right? But there was no urgency. That wasn't the only play, right? So he's mad about the fact that that Karl Anthony Towns didn't really show any urgency, right? There were a handful of plays when he did that, but let me see, but there was no sense of urgency on that particular play to get back, and it was a 5-point swing. Yes, so in close games like that, especially in a game like with Sacramento, y'all supposed to beat Sacramento. You know what I mean? The Knicks are definitely supposed to beat Sacramento. And so when there's no urgency, that's not the mark of a championship player. And you can't win championships like that, right? Yeah, right. I remember who was that who stripped Michael Jordan? Xavier McDaniels one time stripped Michael Jordan, right? They had just got the ball across the half court line, and Xavier McDaniels stripped Michael the ball and was going down for what he thought was an easy layup. Mike sprinted back and hit the ball. It went off of Xavier McDaniels' leg, and the Bulls get the ball back. Right? That's just one example of like a championship type player, somebody with that mentality, like, all right, I turned the ball over, I got to make up for this. And not just championship ball players, but most ball players had that attitude. Like if you're the 12th man on the bench and somebody stripped the ball, you just so happen to get some time, and somebody stripped the ball from you, you got to hustle your ass back or you won't get no more time. So you just can't say, well, all right, that's you just can't think, all right, only championship ball players make that. Everybody play like that. Everybody, like, if you get me on one end, then I gotta make up for it on the other end. But for Karl Anthony Towns to jog back, and then you got your teammates sprinting back, and you, man, it is like coaching is a tough job. It's tough. And I'm glad that Mike Brown is pointing this out and bringing it, right, just so people will know. Put this guy out there, let everybody know that he's out there half stepping and slacking, and then everybody else is playing hard. You create a 4-on, you turn the ball over, your teammates hustle back, the other team hustle back, and you jogging back down the court, and it's a 4-on-5 situation because you ain't hustled back. He should have been the first one down the court. Like when you turn the ball over, like, just get up, hustle your way down the court. Yeah, man. I don't know who on this Knicks team that can pull the coat of Karl Anthony Towns. Just tell him, like, that's unacceptable. We don't need you to, I don't know. And this is why it might be part of the reason why Thibodeau got fired, right? Because ownership is probably looking for somebody who can motivate Karl Anthony Towns and get him to play at a championship level, because if they're going to go if they're going to go deep in the playoffs, you want him to be able, you want to raise his level of play. Let me see, my computer is lagging. So yeah, you want him to raise his level of play, so y'all can go deep into the playoffs. But when this guy just turn the ball over and jog back down the court, it's going to be tough for them to win. Definitely going to be tough for them to win. And I don't know how you motivate somebody like a professional basketball player who's been in the league for over a decade, and he don't know any better than to not hustle down the court after he done turned the ball over. So yeah, man, I wouldn't want to be Coach Mike Brown trying to get this guy to play hard after over a decade in the NBA. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, um, I don't get it. Unless you injured, that's the only way you can't hustle down the court. But I can't see the Knicks winning the championship with this guy playing like that. So that's my take on the situation. Make sure to like, subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.